to make sure you have all the necessary parts, which include two 4-inch clamps, the expeller attached to a piece of lumber, your container for lamp oil and a wick, a soda bottle or water bottle, some clear lamp oil or colored lamp oil. This is going to be your crank for the oil expeller, and your hardware for the crank. You might also want to have your scale handy if you're going to be weighing your oil seeds. And then of course you also want your matches, a container for the press cake. You probably want to have a pair of pliers handy for taking off the press cap after expelling the oil, and a screwdriver or a wooden dowel to make sure that the seeds are entering the chamber properly, and I'll show you that. And of course your feedstock, sunflower seeds in this case, or canola or other seed. Once you have all your parts ready, you can go ahead and start assembling. And you want to start by clamping down your lumber. You want to get that nice and tight. And you want to make sure that the C-clamps are as close to the table as you can possibly get them, and I'll show you why. You want to take out your crank hardware, line up your hole, put your screw through, and then screw your wing nut on. And you should have a nice flowing crank that doesn't hit your C-clamps. Once you've done that, your next step is going to be to fill up your lamp container with some oil. You remove your wick and the cap. Carefully pour in some oil. You can place your wick back in your container. And then you want to set up your container underneath the chamber. And the way I like to do that is by taking off a little piece of the rubber band and carefully holding the cap on, slide your container underneath there, and then you want to slide your rubber band over the structure and make sure it's nice and secure. Your next step is going to be to put the bottom half of your soda bottle or water bottle underneath the oil slit to collect the oil, and you can put your container for the press cake underneath where the press cake is going to come out at the end of the press cap. And if you want, you can go ahead and at this point measure how much your seed weighs. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm not going to use a whole lot of seed. So without seed, we're at 1 ounce. With my sunflower seed, I'm at 4 ounces, so I have 3 ounces of sunflower seed. Can then transfer the seed from the scale into the press. And for sunflower seed, I don't need to use the adjustment bolt at the end of the press cap. For canola oil, I would screw that in, and after I start cranking, which will be about 10 minutes from now, I can loosen that as necessary. But again, for sunflower seed, I don't need this adjustment bolt. The press cake is just going to come right out of the end of the press cap. So now that I have it set up, it's almost ready for expelling, and we are going to light our wick. So I left the wick about 1 inch from the cap of the lamp container, and that should provide enough wick for me to run the crank for 10 to 20 minutes. You can see a little bit of smoke coming up. That's because this chamber is heating up and I have some soot that I didn't clean off from my last use. So you should be in a relatively well ventilated space. But again, now the smoke is dissipated, and I'm going to let my chamber heat up for about 10 minutes before I start cranking the oil.